I don't want to step on anyone's shoes, but most of these games were based on mostly the type of shows that the uncool and not so hip kids watched. Here in Germany we had two big cartoon channels if we ignore RTL 2 since they mostly showed anime. Super RTL was the cool channel, showing you SpongeBob, Hey Arnold, The Angry Beavers, Cat Dog, Disney's Recess and many more. The type of brainwash shows that still had some valuable themes to them. The other big channel was Kika with shows like Tabaluga, Den Tigerenten Club, Simsalagrim and tons of badly acted live action shows. Also it was home to one of the most iconic German TV mascots, Bernd das Brot. Bernd the Bread. It's a sarcastic and self-hating loaf of bread, something kids would see and think, well, what is this all about? It's not unusual to find stories of kids who were disturbed and got nightmares from switching the channel to Kika at night since that's what they showed on there. Or even tourists suddenly waking up in the middle of the night, seeing it on their hotel TV and wondering if everything is alright with Germany.
Chill.
Ui, chill. Mann, sind wir gechillt. Hey, voll chillig hier, Baby. Ins Haus. Oh.
Most of these games you're about to see were more of a Kika or ARD, ZDF or public TV channels that everyone gets since you're forced to pay for them if you got a working TV thing. Those shows they made were pretty much made for us here in Germany. That's mostly why no one else except us Germans have seen them, so who would buy their games? A few of these got translated into different languages and even released in countries around us, but even then, it would be a super small percentage of people who have played them. So don't bonk me on the head if you're not German and played some of them back then. And don't bonk me either for leaving out some. Or maybe go insult me in the comments if you want to. I like getting insulted, so in the end we both win if you let out your stress on me. A Game Boy Color game for a German snack, and you know what? They deserved it. I loved these as a kid and I haven't had one in such a long time. Next time I go outside I will change that, if I would go outside. The game is surprisingly decent, especially the music for it. You are Max Mutig. Mutig is German and means brave, a normal happy hippo and have to stop the volcano from breaking out because only you could do that since it's in your name, so be a brave hippo, not just a happy one. The game just has the perfect mix of being charming with everything combined. The graphics are colorful, the music slaps and it controls decently enough and even has a little gimmick with you being able to put out fire with your nose since you snort out the water you can pick up, which is also basically your health. But one thing that makes no sense are the doors. You have to free other villagers and save them from the fire so they give you keys to progress, but he could just go around the door. Why make it a door? Why not make it a walk and the other hippos give you a hammer to smash it? But that's nitpicky. I'm not a channel like Cinema Sins after all. Doors are pretty underrated if you think about it. We take them for granted, but imagine if doors suddenly disappeared. You would never feel safe again because your neighbor could just walk in while you look at some huge anime badonkas. After each world, you get a new ability together with a new minigame, and at first I thought I had to get a specific high score, but no, these games just go on forever if you don't die. And you won't really die unless you want to die in-game or outside of the game. I could have gotten stuck in an endless loop of playing the first minigame if I didn't just ended myself in it because it became boring. So each stage adds new little obstacles like birds throwing eggs at you, but since you now can throw rocks you can just kill those suckers, stupid birds. You even learn how to swim and I hated swimming class in high school. I already had swimming classes in elementary school. Why do I need even more? We had it every Monday and I would get home at like almost 4 PM because of it. I hated Mondays, especially because of that. What I loved is also that most levels are bite-sized, so dying wasn't too much of an issue unlike in other games where the stages drag on and on and on. But here dying never felt punishing because of it. They even got Donkey Kong in the game. The only weird thing about the game was a single invisible platform. So I did a little checkup by watching a long play and well, the platform normally is not invisible. Time to buy a Game Boy Color again and this game to play it in its full intended glory because this is unacceptable. This is why Nintendo would prefer it if emulators were illegal. No, I get them, no, I side with the bad side. And all of the game happened because of this fatty, who wanted to cool down his butt and block the water flow. I mean, I get him, I wish I could sit in a hot tub all day long during summer too, but sadly I would be too afraid of the water running out and seeping into the floor so my neighbors got a leaking ceiling. I miss the time when people made fun of German summers because they were never super duper hot, unlike now. A surprisingly decent game, just a bit on the shorter side, like myself. The mouse. Yes, I know, you wanna ask me why I want this mouse to die, don't you? Or maybe you didn't want to ask me that because you're not a fan of the unfunny Simpsons. Here's a total truth nuke for you. It's not just the later Simpsons seasons that suck, but they were always bad. Sorry, I'm going through a rough divorce at the moment, so I might be a bit grumpy here and there. Nobody deserves being cheated on. I will keep saying the mouse in this section because I like saying the mouse. It's a puzzle game, and I even had this game as a kid, despite not even liking the mouse and the elephant and the duck, who is missing and you have to find her. It was an educational show that taught you how things were made, and it was supposed to make you smarter, but how does that bring me farther in life? Cool, now I know how a chocolate factory works, but it doesn't exactly make me really smarter because of that. Still, it feels that part of your brain that wants to learn. Too bad that part of my brain was broken and I never cared for this show. You take control of the mouse and the elephant. The mouse can jump farther and pick up blocks, while the elephant can blow up balloons and push big blocks around. So sometimes you have to push a rock against a taller rock to be able to jump onto it with the mouse. Or put blocks down so the elephant can get over the water since he can't really jump. Look at that poor little hedgehog. The game forced me to trap him here forever. He will never be able to go fast again. Sorry to all these Sonic fans out there. As a kid, I never quite liked it much, but the older I got, the more I started to appreciate puzzle games. Back then, I wanted to catch Pokemon, go through a real adventure in Link's Awakening, or just jump around in Mario Land 1 and 2, not solve puzzles unless they're fun puzzles like in the Zelda games. I didn't even like Tetris when I was young, very different from now. This game even inspired Plants vs Zombies, so let's all give the mouse our appreciation. Sometimes the perspective can really mess you up though, like here. How did the mouse walk up the plant instead of going forward? Why does climbing onto a plant even kill the mouse? Maybe it's poisonous, I'm not good with flowers, just put spikes or something there. Even then it wouldn't have been my fault but that of the perspective. Always blame the game instead of yourself, that's how you become a better person. Never look for the fault in yourself, but others. Don't listen to my advice please. You even get mini games like this where you put the fruits into baskets. Not very exciting. After starting the second world I already had enough of it because that's basically it for the rest of the game. It gets really damn hard though. Would recommend it if you like these kind of games, and the OST is also good, for a bit. Like when you hear the same fairly short track for 20 minutes it just gets kinda to you after a bit, regardless of how good it is. I always hated this elephant. There was just something about him that made me not like him. Before I talk about the take that might get me into trouble, I will tell a more happy and wholesome story about how Benjamin Blümchen and Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob shared the same voice actor and how it made a specific scene extra special for us Germans. Sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he made the childhood of so many people so much better. Rest in peace to a real one. In the episode Born Again Krabs, or here in Germany called Geizig bleibt geizig, does anyone actually know the names of the episodes? Everyone who watched it will just remember it from me describing it. I can't show it fully because SpongeBob already copyright struck me a couple of times in the past, so complain to him. I will show 5 seconds of it anyways, and if he hits me with another one I will cry. The Flying Dutchman visits Mr. Krabs to change him as a person, so Mr. Krabs is scared and pretends to be someone else. In English he just says he's Harold Flower. But in the German dub he puts on his Benjamin Blümchen voice and says that's his name, and that joke is even more enhanced by Blümchen meaning flower, so he says Blümchen when looking over at the flower.
Ich bin nicht Eugene Krabs, ich bin Benjamin Blümchen. Oh, Entschuldigung.
Then there's also the infamous Benjamin Blümchen Torte, and there's 2 camps for that. Kids who hated it and kids who loved it. There's no in between, and I was one of those kids that absolutely hated it. You could buy real strawberries, cut them open, pour 5 spoons of sugar into them, let them rot for a few days and then stomp on them and eat them from the soles of your shoes. That's how it tastes like. Maybe also put some dog shit into it for the chocolate taste. Or play the game if you want a similar experience. The first level isn't so bad till you get to the ice part because yeah, the house is connected to the ice animal part of the zoo, somehow. How does an elephant get hurt by a penguin? I don't know. I could have asked the same question for coffee mugs too. I mean, he's a super friendly person or elephant, so maybe that's why, just a very sensitive elephant and soul. How does the ice hold him? No idea. But you probably have an idea on how badly this controls on ice when you have to wait for platforms to come back up, but you can't stop moving. You can't stop on these lines. He automatically slides into a direction. You make me wait for platforms to come back while I'm unable to stop so I can't see when it's back up because I have to slide to the left because otherwise I will slide right into the water. And I didn't even mention these spikes earlier that will hurt you because they look like they belong to the background, so we'll walk into them and only then realize, oh, I can't touch them I guess. But then stupid Carla drops her camera into the sea and for whatever reason, they decide this elephant is the best person for the job to go scuba diving. Wishing him good luck, or maybe this kid is telling him about his favorite image board he just found online because nowadays the people still using it can't be over the age of 12. And well, who could have thought an elephant doesn't fit through caves? How did the camera also get too deep into it? I think the game asked itself that question and got mind broken because it started glitching out and then turned into Jump King in the next level. You have to hold down the jump button to squat to do a bigger jump, and it just sucks. I didn't want to do it. Stupid elephant. I would rather just be Jump King again. I have never seen Jay before. Some little lion dude who was the mascot for the kids blog of RTL, where they showed Super Pig. I have never seen that either before, but I mean, now I kinda want to. Crazy that they bothered to localize something like that, but only did 35 episodes of Cardcaptor Sakura over here. Better than the American version of that. The best description for the game would be, if I got this as a kid, I wouldn't mind playing it. But nowadays as an adult you notice that it's just a box standard jumpin' one, and maybe that's already too nice of a description. You go around the levels and collect toys that the toy thief stole, and at the bottom you can see you need to find 5 before you can leave. The thing is, the game loves to abuse flying platforms. Every jumpin' one has them, but only bad jumpin' ones use them way too much and go overboard with them. Kids don't want to stand around and have to wait for a platform. So you stand around and around and around, then maybe fail a jump or two and stand around even more. Here there's just so many of them in the very first stage. And why are the thieves literally just a mouse in their most generic look possible? Not like I mind that, I like that kind of look for aliens. I wish I had an alien friend. In a way we are all aliens too if you think about it. Do we even know ourselves? You can play Snake in the game though, but you could also just do that on a Nokia 3310. But you know what they say, it can always get worse, because if you want to see a true trashy jumpin' one, I got you one. Dieses Spiel hat mich fix und fertig gemacht. Sorry, had to sneak in a full German sentence there. I've never seen the show before or read the comics, but it's a dog that can't do anything right, in his game at least. Terrible hitboxes, but hey, I'm a Dark Souls 2 fan, so I'm used to that. It's the kind of game that if you watch this gameplay, it makes you think, wow, you suck at it. But then if I would hand you the Game Boy and you had to try it for a second or two yourself, you would realize why I failed the most simple looking jumps possible. It's slippery and he quickly gets fast, too fast. So instead of normally pressing forward, you just tap it slowly and slowly again, because even if you know something is coming, you will crash into it if you just go that tiny bit too fast. Worth a hate play if you want to lose your mind in an old Game Boy jumpin' one, I think. A game aimed at girls because it's about horses, and there was also a whole magazine about horses called Wendy. It's about your friend going to Arizona for a vacation and you want to come too, but lack the money, unless you win 3 horse tournaments. But just looking at their huge property makes me wonder, how do they lack the money for that? They got horses, a pool, tons of other animals running around, and it's just so big that you will get lost on where to go. You gotta ask mommy for permission to enter the tournaments, but mommy says, well, just go ask daddy instead if he's fine with it too, and then go back and forth between them and feed the ducks. But where are they? I had to go around for a solid 10 minutes where I tried to find every screen exit possible before I found it behind the house. The sad thing is, the ducks still hurt you even after you just fed them. Why? And why is every single animal hurting you? Ducks, chickens, some random frogs, even your dog. Shouldn't the dog be the only animal that isn't trying to do that? If a real dog tried to do that, he would be put down. Probably, I don't know. Just leash him onto somewhere. I also loved how the dad asked Wendy if she wants to help him out, and she just says, no. No, not even a gentle nine, papa, I don't want to. Just a rebellious no, basically a nah in English. Aren't horse girls normally pretty polite? I don't like horses after they have kicked one of my uncles once and almost killed him. Now he's slowly dying of a severe addiction to alcohol, just like one of my other uncles. I could not get past the tutorial for the horse riding. First we have to do a couple of positions like doing a half circle, a full circle, things like that, and it's fairly easy, but in the last part of it you have to also change the tempo, and regardless of how well I did it, it didn't really count, even without a single error point. Yes, I think this is what we call nowadays a skill issue. Beaten by a game for little kids, or little girls. Even though little girls are also little kids, but you know, no boy played this. If you were a boy and got this game, you probably hated your parents for 2 weeks. But who is the real winner here? Being able to not be able to beat the game, or the person who just stops playing it because they have better things to do with their free time? Which does not describe me, since I love wasting my time with bad games. For bear fans who like planes, you got Käpt'n Baloo, but for people who like normal boats, you got Käpt'n Blaubär. Nobody needs some dumb big bear living in a big blue house if you can watch a blue bear living on a boat, or just play his game, which I actually kinda got addicted to. All you have to do is to walk over all the barrel things that have stars on them, but once you do, they open up to show you they're full of water, and you're not allowed to fall into that. So now you have to find the right path to activate them all without being allowed to step back onto them. A really simple concept that I would have hated as a kid, but like I mentioned earlier, now I'm a big fan of puzzle games. I just wanted to keep playing and playing, but if you do that, you see that the next game has this dumb mini game where you have to get into a submarine to get to the next world. It's not hard or super duper unfun, but I wanted to puzzle more instead of doing this. It's also one of those funny games that starts really easy, throws a pretty hard level at you, and then the next 5 levels will be super duper easy again. I kinda love that in puzzle games. Either I just suck at them, or maybe they intend to throw you those curveballs every once in a while so you can never feel safe. Look behind you. It's a quiz show game about Germany's most popular daily soap opera show. It blows my mind there's a whole bunch of older women out there who probably have seen every single episode. If anyone ever tells you they don't want to watch One Piece, then well, tell them to read the manga instead. Or that it could be worse and they would be forced to watch Good Times, Bad Times. Describes my life perfectly. For most of us actually, I hope. Sometimes things are good, sometimes they're bad. Thank you, I know, I should become a philosopher. I mostly only picked this to show off the moderator's funny face. And the game tried to kill itself. When I was younger, I somewhat had a crush on Bibi, and maybe she's the reason why I like witches so much, despite never actually watching her show. You just get dropped into the game and have to find stuff for people. Like the gardener needs his watering can, so go catch it for him. Because you have no other choice. Just like in life, do what other people tell you to do. Actually don't. Do what you want to do. But this guy gives you a cool frog thing so you can jump like a frog, so maybe it's a good thing to only follow orders if you get rewarded with stuff like this. There's eye crunching in the game, so just for that alone, it's not total trash. I love those little nut eaters. Here you even need their nuts so you can collect some spells for another witch that I couldn't find, so I just stopped playing it because why waste my time with this game if I can just play another Bibi game. This time, it's not just Bibi but also her best friend Tina. And if you didn't notice it yet, many of these games were made by the same studio, BMW Gesellschaft für Konzeption in Gestaltung digitaler Medien MBH, and also published by Kiddings, who to this day are still publishing these kind of games. They made a Bibi Blocksberg racing game for the Wii, with a fitting broom accessory so you can pretend you're flying on the broom. One day I will buy that. There's even one of these games on the Switch. But yeah, this is basically just like Wendy. Right down to the animals hurting you for no reason, even though this time it's only the black cock hurting you, the other cocks just slow you down. I didn't even get to the riding the horse part because you have to throw stuff onto the horse, and if you fail you have to do it again and have to pass by these rats again who you will probably get hit by because the controls are like trash. I love trash because I love raccoons, but this is not the good kind of trash that you could still eat from. It's trash that is rotten and smelly and stupid and don't eat trash. Something a rat would actually like. Even though I like rats don't deserve this. I finished up one horse and then the game tells me cool, do another horse. I just couldn't go on. My mind just broke. It didn't help that I was playing most of these games at like 3 AM in the morning. I actually owned this game as a kid and have beaten it so often and I don't even know why. I was able to blindly play through it in my sleep basically. It's a game based on Janosch, a story about a bear and a tiger who wanna go to Panama, since that's probably a great spot for vacation. But they have no idea where it is, so they randomly put a sign down that has Panama written on it in front of the house and go on to the adventure. Just to come back here and think this really is Panama because of the sign. If I had a messy garden like this, I would not forget that this belonged to me. Clean it up. Despite never having watched the show or reading the book, I just always loved the story, showing you that home is where home is. You might think your life will be better over there in Panama, but maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe sometimes you should stay in place. Obviously that's kinda up to you to decide for yourself. I always loved how the game has no text at all. All of it is just shown through emojis when they talk, and that's done so even kids who can't read yet could beat it. Perfect for adult me then too. It's a cute point and click adventure basically. It's like hard to judge for me if I would still really like it so much if I never played it before. Would I think it's an ugly game if I never did? Because looking at this makes me still love the art style of it too. It has great animations, but you could say this looks more like someone painted in paint instead of being a master of pixel art, but I think it makes it look so charming. Like I said earlier, there are way more games that mostly us Germans played, but it's like going on a date. You don't want to show all of your good traits at once because then the other person falls in love immediately. Now you might wonder why you wouldn't want that to happen, but trust me, you don't. I will not elaborate on that. Don't take dating advice from someone who barely went on dates before, but you have to leave some things for another date. Just like how maybe next time I will also include DS and Game Boy Advance games. So I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone. Now I gotta go watch some Super Pig and cry about how most of these shows also have this really ugly 3D style nowadays and feel bad for the kids. It even hit shows like Heidi. Bob the Builder deserves this ugly remake because I always hated him even if I liked the art style of the show, but Heidi, she deserves better. Bye bye.